Hey, witches!
Hi, hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah. We're on chapter 20. Um,
And back with Tensoon.
yeah. Um, oh my goodness, excuse me. Um, he is in a cage. They put him back in a cage.
He's getting ready to meet with his people, right? No, he met with the people.
Yes. He already had the
And
trial, and now he's in the
yeah,
cage. Um,
and Milan. Well,
yes.
he's in the cage basically in the middle of their square
Yeah.
in an attempt to humiliate him. Um
And to,
and some
set an example.
yeah. And the person he fancies, Milan, has come along, and she's a fifth generation. She is from the more rebellious
Yeah.
generation. So, and he fancies her. But she's come to essentially be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you need to challenge them. They don't have to be our rulers. Um,
And they're listening in too. He knows that there is somebody that would probably report back to the second generation.
yeah.
So he's going to definitely use that as his next tactic, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely knew that I was gonna like her though. I
Yeah.
knew she was gonna be feisty and I was gonna like her. And I was correct.
I do not necessarily want to see more of her, obviously I do, but I really want to see her out and about. I want her to go to the actual world
Yeah, and
and
meet
be
Vin
a
and yeah.
yeah, and be a part of this crew because she would definitely fit in. She need to change her body, but she would definitely fit in.
Right.
I'm also curious about why the Khandra hate dog bones as much as they do. Why the major distaste for it? Because that's what he does. He's like, they kept me in the bones and blah blah blah. I hated it. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Knowing that they'd give it to him as a punishment so he could get him. But
Yeah. But
I don't understand why though.
I'm guessing that it's an insult, because they have this
Maybe
deal with the
it's
humans, right? So that the humans aren't afraid of them or whatever. But I feel like a human asking or ordering them basically to wear animal bones maybe is degrading. I
maybe
don't know.
maybe it's closer to what the Mistwraiths would get, and so they're
Yeah.
the lesser.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, he makes a real big issue about it. He's like, no, they were disgraceful. I hate them. Um,
And it's like, yes,
well, yeah, and
say it.
super smart. He's just being very clever with that.
And
Um,
he was really quick with those bones. He was up and around and moving and doing all of that. So he will definitely be able to either break bodies or their true bodies or whatever. And essentially escape or kind of do what Elend is doing, a siege.
yeah.
Take them over.
Yep. And I think I was confused the first time I read this through, but I think looking back at it and looking at my notes, I think that he's trying to protect her. Because he's
Yeah.
like, I will not rebel against my people. Please, if you truly wish to help me, leave me alone. And I think that by saying that, he's just trying to protect her from like association.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, well, then what was the point of all of this, Tensoon? But now, like, looking at it again, I'm like, okay, I think that was the point, was to protect Milan. But that's chapter 20.
It was
Chapter
really
1,
quick, simple
yeah.
one.
There, a lot of these chapters are really quick.
Yeah, it's only like a few pages, if that. Like, I think one of them was like 10 pages total, and I was like, damn, this is a long chapter. But I
Yeah.
had been so used to like reading like 3 pages max.
Yep. Yeah. So chapter 21, we're back with Vin and Elend, and they had, the last time we were with them, they had all of the soldiers go out into the mist to see, like the day mist, to see if they would
Get
survive or not,
inoculated.
basically to inoculate them against the
Mm-hmm.
mist. And Jimmu had,
Had quite the fit.
yeah, he had a fit. He got sick, and we were like, oh shit. And that was the end of the chapter. Well, the very first line of this chapter says, Jimmu survived. So he is alive.
Not well, but alive.
Yeah, not well, but he's
He's
alive. And I feel
surviving.
like that was super lucky.
I
um
I don't understand like what it is about this mist that like picks and chooses 16%. Oh, sorry. That's this.
that's this chapter, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, so this mist, they're talking about like what is going on and everything. And Elend, there is one part that I want to comment on before we learn about the 16 thing. Um, is that Elend is like terrified that he's becoming like the Lord Ruler.
He's having
And
not necessarily like a crisis of anything, but
but kinda like
yeah, I mean, he's afraid that like his choices, whether or not they're like are for the greater good,
they're
is very
still,
similar to the Lord Ruler because of how um hard he's had to be on like these decisions and these takeovers.
and what that's what I said. I feel like the difference is, so he says this is something he would have done, meaning the Lord Ruler, sacrificing his own men for a tactical advantage. It's ruthless. Um, and he calls himself brutal. And I'm like, yes, but the Lord Ruler wouldn't have given them a choice, and Ellen did. Like, ultimately, they decided to step out into those mists to be inoculated because he said, if you don't want to do this, okay, you can turn around and go back to Luthadel. And the Lord Ruler would not have given that choice. He would have ripped their fucking tents off of them. Like, it wouldn't
Yeah.
have been an option. So, where, yes, it does feel a little brutal, there was still choice, and they got to make that choice, which makes all the difference and is going to make the loyalty to him even stronger because he didn't
Mm-hmm.
force them.
Yeah.
And so
And
there's a
that's what I was
very
gonna
important
say.
distinction.
Yeah, and I get that gray line can really get like fuzzy a lot of the time, especially when you're walking that little line. But choice is really what's going to define one or the other. So the fact that he was willing to allow these guys to have a choice, even though like probably not necessarily that it was best if they all went out into the mist, but
Yeah. And he goes on to
choice.
say, like, he goes on to continue talking about like his childhood and how they used to, any children of the nobility, they would like beat them almost to death to make them snap. Um, and he's like, she's like, you stopped this from happening. It doesn't happen anymore. Now you can choose to go undergo a supervised beating, but you don't have to, and it only is after coming of age. And Ellen's like, but I was wrong. And Fin's like, what? Like, you just called yourself brutal and said you felt bad about it. But he's like, Allomancers are the most powerful resources. And she's like, you stopped the beating of children.
Yeah.
And he's like, but if those beatings could save lives, and this is like the whole train, you know, the moral dilemma of the train, one person dying versus the whole train full of people dying. Like, there's no, like, you can't continue to beat literal children. Because, first of all, would you let a child join your army anyway, even if they were an Allomancer?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like when like 16-year-olds were forging their birth dates or whatever to join the military during World War II or whatever. Like, yeah, there's going to be people who are gonna bypass it, but the vast majority is saved.
Yeah, and then like it wouldn't be loyal soldiers. Even if you did, once they came of age, you decided that everyone had to undergo this beating, and if they were an Allomancer, they had to join your army. Okay, well, just like what happened with the Lord Ruler, those people would not be loyal to you anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I just don't know. But then she's like, I don't like this hardness in you, Elend. And then they start looking at the numbers and talk because Norden comes in with the numbers. And this is when we learn about the 16%. And some of them are like, they're trying to decide if it's a coincidence or not. No. Sometimes things are too perfect or too much to be a coincidence. And this is like, every time that they've tracked data on this, it has been 16% of the people who were there fell sick. Not died, but fell sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just...
So why is it 16% for just those who fell sick? Why is it 16% for other things? It doesn't make any sense. But if we remember from the last episode, I did state that Will had given me not necessarily a spoiler, but like a little
nugget.
more, a little more, like a little nugget of world building, basically. There was a god who was split into 16 pieces, and ideally it's each 16 piece, there's 8 of one, and then 8 that is the exact opposite. So we've learned that preservation has been talked about in this book as well, and Will doesn't remember, but it's believed that he is either 8 or 1 because like he's the beginning of those shards versus Ruin, who is the very last. So he's the other one's either 8 or like 1. But we know Ruin's doing this because 16 is the number that keeps popping up, and that's his shard piece, basically.
Yep, but we don't know
long forgotten
why.
Yeah.
It's very intriguing. Honestly, thanks a lot to Will, because I really enjoy this series, and whether we read them for the podcast or not, I fully intend to go back and read like the rest of them, if not all of his books.
Once we stop getting into like series, or like stop doing series and start doing a lot more standalone books that I can easily like digest, not have to worry about like giant world building, I think I am going to make an effort to do like the Way of Kings series. And maybe we'll come back to that series and do that. It's those are very, very, very big
Very long.
books.
Yeah.
So not ideal for this type
This.
at right now.
Yeah.
If I could quit my day job and just sit at home and read and just do this all day long or voice act all day long, I fucking would. But let me tell you,
Right.
that don't pay my bills.
Agreed. I wish. So,
But oh well.
but yeah,
Anyways,
that's the end of chapter 21. It's they find out that it's always 16% of the people fall ill. So,
and I was wondering too if like um it was like some weird final end of the world type power.
yeah.
Like the start. Like he has to get so many 16s in a row before like the end. Like he gets enough power, you know?
Maybe. I don't know.
He's like,
We do find out something interesting in this next chapter, though. I didn't write a lot about chapter 22. We're with Sazed. He's still.
see this right here. I'm like, what about this?
Yeah. So he's still at the pits of Hathsin, which is where all the terracemen are. And they are kind of like asking him to stay and lead them. And he's like, no. But like, I
No,
agree
thank
with
you.
him. I don't think that him staying and leading them right now is right for him. I don't think he
I don't think it's right
could.
for either of them. Yeah.
Correct. Because he's got to finish what he started here.
Yeah, he's going through his own little healing journey and he is not fit to be a ruler right now. For now at least. He might come back and do it, but
yeah, but right now he's not there. But he asks them right before he leaves if there have been any other. He says, "Tell me, have any of your people died recently in odd circumstances?" And they're like, "What are you talking about?" And he says, "Mist deaths, men who are killed by simply going out into the mist during the day." And they're like, "That's a ska fairy tale. That doesn't really happen." So the terrace men are not affected by the day mists, and they don't get the sickness. None of them.
yeah.
Zero.
And I was okay, two running theories. They can't be controlled by allomancy, which is essentially what the mist is doing. And I kind
Yeah.
of wonder if like the choking disease that they get or like the people from the mist get is allomancy based. Like if
Ooh.
there's something within like the iron in their blood or whatever that creates this for them.
Yeah.
But then that would mean that terracemen have different blood. So it's weird. But I was thinking that maybe because the Lord Ruler was of Terrace or like the
Right.
earlier people of Terrace, and because of him, they automatically get like
I wonder
out.
too if it's something to do with the breeding programs of the terrace
Oh,
people. Like, was some kind of gene bred out of them?
mm-hmm. Could be that, yeah. It could be, well, because not all of them do Faberchemy, so
Right.
we can't say it's up based on power because there would still be some deaths, but
Yeah.
there's not. And I was wondering too if because maybe not necessarily with the Lord Ruler and the fact that he was of Terrace descent or ancestry, I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that Vin released Ruin. Like maybe because she had the power within her, Ruin took that power and that like she wasn't Terraceman. Like she wasn't of Terrace. Maybe there's like a fault with
Yeah.
this Ruin thing.
I don't know. I definitely want to know more, though. I am invested in this situation. But that's all I said about that entire chapter was that staying and leading is not right for him right now, and this is really interesting that terracemen don't get hurt by this. So
Yeah. It's like, why are they not affected? What the fuck? What about
right.
them makes them better? So yeah, that was crazy to say. But yeah, chapter 23.
23. I also didn't write much about this chapter. We're back with Spook, and we learn about his childhood a little bit, and it sucks.
Which it's honestly really fucking sad.
It is. Well, I'm really confused though. Like, where did they live that his family was so worried about him being an Alamancer? Like,
Well, he's from the what? The Western dominance.
yes.
So he's like way far out there, right? And if you look at the map, you actually see like little, like tiny little castles um around the Western dominance. I wonder if he's like from one of those further Western
Okay.
locations.
That could be. I just know
But
that,
we
like, wait,
but
oh,
we
there's the maps.
noticed, yeah, but we do notice that, or know that um Spook's language, because everyone's like, oh, it's just because he's like, basically that's his country folk talk, that's his street language, but his parents don't speak like that.
Right.
This is because he joined, I don't want to call them gangs, but like street posses, basically.
I mean, they call them gangs in the book. His dad calls them street gangs, or well, I'm making an assumption it's his dad. It's a large man.
At at the end of the chapter, we do find out that it was his dad,
Yeah.
um,
But
who
they're
was like
like,
pulling him.
they're talking about the Inquisitors though, because they're talking about spikes in their eyes. And they're like, they'll kill us if they find out that, because this runs in families. So if they find out that he's a Tenai, they're going to come for all of us.
And they'll probably just kill everybody in that area, regardless.
Yeah, but
Kind
I
of like
don't
how they did it
understand
with
why.
Hammond's thing,
Like,
because he's ska.
oh, that's true.
It's kind of like when Vin and Cameron tried to scam
Yeah, the
the Inquisitors,
obligators.
not, yeah, the Obligators, and they noticed that
Yeah,
she did powers or whatever, so they were like, oh, here we come.
that's true.
So
Um,
they're already fighting for the fact that they need food,
yeah,
and the woman who's like upset about this whole thing is Spook's mother, and she
yeah,
ended
because
up calling
they're
someone
like,
special.
um, their solution, like the dad's solution to this, is we're just gonna kill him. Like,
Yeah,
we're not gonna let
we
him
get rid
live
of
and just keep him in
him.
the house. We're just gonna kill him.
Yeah, if we get rid of him, then we won't ever have to worry about anything else. And they come from like a mining location, so they're a little further um out west, obviously. But they are just going to essentially execute him so that you kill one versus 20.
Yeah, and
And
then
they're terrified of it too. Not just because of like what could happen to him, but like he's got powers. Where did these powers come from?
yeah,
But somebody saves the day, luckily. Because the mother
called them. Yeah, or well, called for them. They
called for help and called for assistance, and somebody by the
shows
name
up.
of Clubs just so happened to
Oh,
show up and take him. So Clubs is his mother's brother, and he was seen as a traitor because he joined the Lord Ruler's armies. So
yeah. Yep. And we learned that Lestiborn's was never actually Spook's name. We don't know what Spook's.
his street name was Lestbornes, basically,
Yeah,
because it was a very sad street.
it was street slang for "I've been abandoned," and
It's like,
so that's what he named himself. And then Kelsier changes it later to Spook because Lestiborn's was too hard to say. But I also wonder, like, did Kelsier know what it meant? And he
maybe.
was like, "You're no longer abandoned. You're found now. So like, we're not going to call you that anymore."
Mhm.
I don't know.
I wondered, because obviously, that was street slang for I've been abandoned. But that should have been his name after his parents both were like, no, get rid of him. But it wasn't. That was
I
his
think it
name prior to that.
was because the Clubs asks him, "Do you have a name?" And he starts to talk, and then he stops, and he's like, "It says his old name didn't seem like it would do
Oh,
anymore." So I think he
you're
made that
right.
name up for himself.
You're right. Never mind.
Yeah,
You're right. I take it back.
yeah, and so
I was trying to
that's
make it more deep than it was.
well, with these books, sometimes you have to because sometimes it is like Brandon
Yeah.
Sanderson the weaves stuff together and like I told Brittany that she should, if she wants to read, because she's in a book slump right now because of Onyx Storm. And I
Same.
told her that if she wants to listen to another one, that she should do Mistborn. Or really any Brandon Sanderson, I feel like is probably great. But I told her she should do Mistborn.
An easy intro would be Mistborn, yeah.
Yeah. Because she doesn't care as much about the like spice and stuff. And so I was like,
That's Will.
yeah, this
Okay,
is
what does it bring to the story? Da, da, da. And I was like,
I mean, it's not necessary for me, but I don't feel like it takes away from the story either.
yeah, that's how I feel. He's like, it doesn't add anything, so it makes no sense to have it there. And I was like, okay,
I mean,
well,
sometimes
in
it
Haunting,
takes the stakes up because
shit's happening, yeah.
right, like
But well, and then I like he was like, yeah, I don't really see like the matter with it. I was like, well, there was spicy scenes in like Fourth Wing in that world, but it wasn't like every other scene.
right. Some books
And
it's too much. Yes,
yeah, and I feel
absolutely.
like in Akatar it was so often you're just like, there they go again. Damn, okay.
Right. And at the most awkward times, like right after
Well, we're
battle.
just gonna die. Yeah. But like I think the items that bring it to the story would be like haunting Adeline and hunting Adeline. Like those were
Yeah.
important parts
Right.
that, but also that it was more the traumatic side. So that
Right.
it was
Well,
going to
and
bring
like
some to the story.
that genre, like that's partially why you're reading it. Like it's I don't know. Again,
You're
I
reading
feel
it for the
like
trauma.
it doesn't take away from the story. I mean, in some books it does. Like there's basically
That's
any
all it is.
Katie Roberts book, that's all it is. The whole fucking story is just sex. But
There was I don't remember what it was, but Fee read a book and she just like kept telling me about like all these scenes and I was like, damn, how many books are you reading? She goes, oh no, this is all in one book. And I was like, you just
yeah.
listening to porn at that like that rate, like that's not even a story.
Yeah.
That's porn.
Exactly.
That's a graphic audio.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that was a little side quest there. But chapter 24, I only wrote one thing about this one because we are back with Tensoon and Varcel comes back to his crate or cage and gives him bones and is like, you're gonna wear those bones to the trial. And he's like, what's wrong with these bones? And they're like, they are gonna break your bones as part of your punishment, something like a public execution. But this ought to leave an impression on some of the younger generations. And he's like, I still don't understand the need for another body. And he's like, no need to waste a perfectly good set of human bones. These are the bones that you came here in. And Tensoon's like, you fell into my trap.
Now he's got the speed. Now he can get out. Now he can
Yes.
escape and go be with Vin.
Yep. And that's literally all I wrote about that chapter because that's literally all that happens.
Yeah, it was a page. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was literally, it was 2 pages for me. So yeah, it was literally a page for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I cannot wait to
I
hear
guess.
you talk about this next chapter.
Oh.
Chapter 25.
Yeah, I wrote a few things about this chapter. This is Elend and Vin, and Set and the army, and they get to Fadrex City, which is Set's old kingdom. And this city is like has prepped for them. Like they cut down the trees that were around the city so the soldiers couldn't hide in the trees, and like they were prepping. And they're talking about it, and they're like, this is not good. Like this is not going to go well. And um Ham makes a comment about if we go home, we'll do so on foot because the boats aren't going to make it back up the canal. And Elend's like, if, and he says, everything seems pretentious to you. We'll be fine. And I was like, oh, famous last words? Like, what?
I just think he's really attractive in this scene.
Elend?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
He's new and mature and in control. You want to hear where I said this? Where I blushed a bit?
Yes.
Okay. So he's talking to Set, and basically they're talking about taking back the city, and the city is Set City. So they're talking about diplomacy and talking and trying to take back without fighting anybody, because they don't necessarily know what they're going to get into. And so the conversation is, if we make an alliance, Set said, leaning forward in his chair, I don't get my city back. And that is Set's whole goal. Get his city back. Get it back from the obligator that took it away from him. We later find out for good reasons. However, Set is like, I want my damn city back. And Elend goes, I know. Because he's not going to get his city back, and Elend is well aware of it. And Set gets pissed. And Elend goes, you seem to be forgetting yourself, Set. You did not team up with me. You knelt before me, offering up oaths of service in exchange for not getting executed. Now I appreciate your allegiance, and I will see you rewarded with a kingdom to rule under me. However, you don't get to choose where that kingdom is, nor when I will grant it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, no, I did. Yes, I did like that.
I was like, yes. Okay, you tell him.
Yeah. I do think that sometimes in some of this conversation, though, Set is correct about some of the things they're going to have to do. Like they're not. These people prepared for a war before you even got here. Yeah, I don't think diplomacy is going to work. And even if the cash is your primary target, I don't think you're going to be like, you're not going to be able to wait forever. You're not going to be able to wait for the siege, especially because you don't know if they found it. They might have it. They might have found the stores. So I don't know. I just think, I don't know. I think that Set might not be entirely wrong with his plan here. And I don't like it.
Seen a lot, though. Yeah, it's like, It's also really cool to see, because like in the next chapter in 26, we go back to where Spook is and Urtu or whatever it's called. But I do like that we see how a regime of ska leadership is on one side, and then we see like a little later on, we see like a decent leadership of the other kind, and it's like, this is where your morals come into play. This is where you start to decide, like, is this bad, or should we just leave it as is?
Yeah. Yeah. But
and I was sitting here like, am I supposed to be thinking this?
This last end of this chapter, of chapter 25, I don't even like their dynamic anymore. Like, literally the last page is Vin and Elend talking back and forth. and I don't even like their dynamic anymore. Like, Elend has changed so much, and so has Vin, but I feel like Elend has changed for the worse, and Vin has changed more for like the not necessarily for the better, but she's got more mature and
She changed for the
positive.
situation.
Yeah. And so I don't even like them together anymore, which is weird because I was all about Ellen in the beginning.
Here's the thing, though. Please tell me that whatever happened in chapter 28 like changes that at all. Like, do you still think that after chapter 28?
No. Yeah.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I was
Chapter
about to say,
26.
listen, if you feel the same after that chapter, I will
No.
personally come through the screen and choke you.
I have comments about it in chapter 28.
Okay. I actually said a lot of it in chapter 27 and 28, so I get it. But chapter 26.
Chapter 26. Fuck the citizen and his hypocritical ass government.
Oh, what a moral dilemma that is.
Like, he's gone the opposite direction. Like, the Lord Ruler treated the Ska like vermin. They were slaves. They were this. They were that. And then the citizen is just over here murdering all of the nobility, knowing damn well that he has noble blood.
He's the Ska version of Lord Ruler.
Yeah, and then at one point they say, like, within 5 generations, if there's nobility within 5 generations, okay, but it's not my fault if my dad raped a Ska woman, because if we're being real, that's probably what happened and how all of these Ska allomancers are popping up, because the noblemen raped their slaves. I'm sorry, it's not my fault if my dad or my granddad or my great granddad did that. Why do I have to die because of that? That's shitty, first of all. And second of all, then he walks around wearing, they have like rules about what colors they can wear, and he wears a different color. And not only does he wear a different color, but he wears red. Like, come on. Let's be really so weird. For real right now. And so Spook is like spying on them, and there's a part where he decides to walk away. Oh, no. Spook is he's not spying on them. He's at a bar? Question mark? Restaurant?
Yeah, he's at like a slum. So he's in like the Ska area, and he is sitting kind of listening in on conversations, but not necessarily being there for any real reason.
Yeah, and they're talking about him. And they're like, Dern's been talking about him, said he was one of the survivors' own crew. And he's like, why has he been telling people my secrets? I thought he was more careful than that. And then he stands up and walks away. And I'm like, bro, no, you need to know what they're saying. Like, you need to know what they're saying. Why are you not staying to hear what they're saying? But
I know, like, this is important information.
Yeah. So that's the end of that chapter. But I was just like, what are you doing?
I was just curious to think that maybe I don't know. I'm trying to figure out like why I read this or why I wrote this, because it said, is he going to be an Allomancer as well? And I'm sitting here like, wait, who was I talking about? It's been a bit. I read chapter 26 like 2 weeks ago, so it's been a while, and now I'm trying to figure it all fucking out. And maybe I was talking about I don't know, maybe instead of Allomancer I meant to say like Mistborn.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wondered that too.
Now that he's godlike with his tin.
Yeah. Yep. Did you have anything else for 26?
Nope.
27. This is what I was saying. Like, some of these chapters are real fucking quick. So chapter 27 was also fairly quick. but a lot happens. So Vin, we're back with Vin, and she is in Fadrex City doing some scouting, and Set sent her with like a list of people, informants to talk to. And the first one is this old guy who sits on his balcony or whatever. And she gets there, and this is where she learns that this city is being ruled by an obligator now, and he's just kind of acting like nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. The nobility are still the nobility. The ska are still slaves. Like, they're still throwing balls. Like,
I do really like that Vin was like, man, back when I went to the ball, I just like not fit in, but like she melted into that role really, really
yeah.
easily. And she was sitting there saying like how much of that was like made up or was like some type of personified personality. And I was like, Villette Renew is just a fraction of what she could be.
Mm-hmm.
And she can do that once this is all over. Like, we all find out who we are at some point in time, and this is just her finding out who her true self is.
Yeah. And basically, like, he's like, we kept things the same, and everybody's like not challenging the status quo. And I'm like,
someone is somewhere,
right,
probably
someone somewhere is, and
it might not be as
that doesn't
bad.
mean that that's the right thing to do. Like,
yeah, because he's basically the way he's portraying it. He's like, oh, the ska eat, they live, they thrive. Yeah, they're in slavery still, but like, so like the way he describes it actually kind of makes you feel bad about this, because you're just like, oh wow, like this is completely different than what the ska is doing over in like Uduru or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think it
can't be that bad, right?
I feel like it's like the worst of the worst of both ends. Like,
yeah,
like the Citizen and what they're doing, that's awful, and it's disgusting, and it's wrong, and that's like, then you go to the other end of the spectrum, and you have these people like maintaining the status quo, acting like nothing changed, and it's also disgusting and wrong, and like we got to find somewhere in the middle, which I feel like is what Elend and Vin are trying to do in Luthadel.
Yeah, I think they're doing a little bit more like that ska with like how the Citizen is making everybody feel not everybody feel important, but like the ska making them feel kind of important, but then also taking people over as if like they were like the Lord Ruler.
Yeah, I don't know, I feel like it's trying to show both ends of the spectrum basically. But then after she leaves that guy, she goes to find the next informant, and she's like, something doesn't feel right. Something feels wrong about this. And so she just leaves. And then realizes someone is following her. So she thinks. And at first I was like, Zane? Like, is Zane following her?
I actually wondered if it was, because we've been kind of back and forth with who the Mist is. Like, it could be the informant. Yeah. But it didn't seem like it was Ruin. It didn't feel malevolent or in any way. So I wonder if it's preservation.
It could be.
Because if Ruin can hear what everybody says, preservation probably could too.
Right. And so she's like running through the city like she's leaving, and then she like pushes herself real hard off the gates to try to like catch this person basically. And when she throws herself backwards, the allomantic pulses disappear. And she's like, did they just stop burning their metals? Like, what just happened? And then she's like, oh God, is it the Mist Spirit? But she's not sure. Like, she can't decide, is it the Mist Spirit or is it someone who just cut off their metals? And part of me thinks that they're trying to make us think that it's the Mist Spirit, but that it's actually someone who was following her and knew, in that case, someone who knows that she can pierce copper clouds like Zane. Um
Mist,
and
like a mistborn who could turn off.
yeah. Yeah, and so he just turned off his metal so she wouldn't know he was there. I don't know. I'm still not convinced he's dead, but I feel like, again, Brandon Sanderson does this to us because I'm still not entirely convinced that Kelsier's dead. I mean, he is. He's dead. But, like, there's part of me that's like, but is he? Is he the Mist Spirit? Like, I
I
don't know.
wonder, like, maybe, well, yeah, like, if he is the, like, if preservation's, like, pretending to be him, or if, like, he came back. I don't know.
That's what I was wondering, if with everything with Spook, if that's not Ruin pretending to be Kelsier to get Spook to trust him.
Same. And then, like, making Spook, like, turn on his friends and, like, become, like, the next problem.
Right, but without realizing it. Like, he'll be thinking he's doing what's best for everyone and accidentally becoming, like, the next big bad. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, with the way we're focusing on him being, what is it? Godlike?
Yeah.
I think that's where it is. Crazy.
Yeah.
Chapter 28. Finally, Brandy is going to take back all her mean comments about Elend.
No, I'm not, because there's still parts of Elend that I'm not a fan of. But chapter 28, Elend, there we do have the Elend that I know and love again. So Vin and Elend are talking about her scouting mission. And she wants to find a way to stop the ash, right? Basically.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I need to save this world. I need to stop the ash. I'm the hero of ages. And he's like, finally, like, well, let's do it. And she's like, what? And he's like, let's save the world. Let's stop the ash. And she's like, you made it sound like a joke. Like, she thinks he's joking. And he's like, no, I'm serious. If this is what you feel you must do, what you feel that you are, then let's do it. I'll help however I can. And I was like, there's the Elend that I know and love. He's like, okay, fuck what's best for everything. Like, yes, this is probably what's best for everything, but, like, fuck what plans I had. Fuck what I think logically.
For now, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, this is what she believes and what she wants to do. So, like, I'm gonna support her in that. And finally, I do like Elend and their dynamic in this, and I feel like it kind of made him realize, I think, like, oh, I have not been being a very great husband. Not that he's been being a bad husband. He hasn't.
He's just not been, like, he's
himself.
been neglecting her. I don't want to say physically, because we don't know, like.
Yeah, this isn't that kind of book.
But, like, also, like, he's not there.
Yeah.
His mind and body is essentially elsewhere, focusing on the end of the world and all of these things. So he just hasn't been there for her in certain, times. But I think their dynamic is the same, just kind of, like, clouded right now because of everything that's happening. I think he is so focused on this and like, what's happening next, that he has essentially just neglected certain parts of his life.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, and then so they keep talking, and they're talking about, like, she's like, do you know why I agreed to marry you? Because you trust me. Like, because she tells him about how she read on that plaque that Ruin can see and hear everything that they write or say out loud. And so she's like, so I can't tell you my plan. And he's like, okay. And she's like, and you can't tell me the reasons for everything that you want me to do. She's basically like, we just got to trust each other. And I'm like, this feels like it's not going to work, but okay. And then on page,
I like their attempts though.
yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
like,
And so,
she's working on one thing, he's working on another, but they're not like, it's not stuff that they both have to talk to figure out. It's,
yeah, they're just going to
that's your
trust each
goal.
other's
This is,
plans.
yeah.
Um, and so Elend is like, I want to talk to Yeoman. Maybe I can make him see reason, because Vin's basically like, we're going to have to assassinate him. And so it's set.
Mm-hmm.
And like everybody else is like, we're going to have to assassinate him.
Like, there's no
And
choice.
he's like, ugh, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do war. Like, he's like, I don't want to send these Colossus into that city. He's like, I just want to talk to him. And Vin says, there might be a way. And then at first, when she said this, I was like, that's reason enough to have war, or assassinate him. But then I realized that she was saying this is a way to talk to him, because she says there's still staging balls in the city and King Yeoman attends every one. And I was like, reason enough to kill him, honestly. But that's not what she meant. She meant we can sneak into a ball and talk to him.
Which,
it's a good idea.
Yeah, she's trusting Ellen enough to take care of everything and to make sure that they are, good to go. And
yeah, and it's not a bad idea. Like, that is going to be the easiest way to talk to him, because otherwise he's just going to refuse your audience. Like, he's not going to allow you to talk to him. But they are cracking me up because their priorities are hilarious, because he's like, I'm going to have to dig up some good reading material. And she's like, I don't have a gown. Like, what? Priorities, people. If we're sneaking into this city, I'm sure we can steal a gown. Like,
yeah.
And maybe instead of reading material, we need to focus on like the people and how we're going to get close to him.
I know, it's like they're reliving their first courting moments.
Yes.
Which I enjoy.
Yes, it was funny. And so that's where chapter 28 ends, and they're going to be sneaking into a ball.
I love it. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for you to read chapter 29, because I was actually excited to talk about that, and I didn't read it.
Listen, we were texting yesterday, and she's like, yeah, chapter 28's fine. I was like, all right, cool. Chapter 28.
Yeah. But then I think you said 28, 29, and then I was like, that's fine. And so anyway, I read through chapter 29, but that just means that I'm a chapter ahead for next time, which is good, because I'm going to be busy as fuck this week.
So yeah. Well, without further ado, thank you for coming and checking us out. Until next time.
Bye.